Hello lovely people, how are you all doing today? I hope you are well, I hope you're all good. I am. It's been a bit of a theme the last few videos, it's getting a bit warmer. I mean, it's a big deal, isn't it? Still thermaling underneath, but yeah, no gloves, no scarf, woohoo! It makes such a difference. Oh, I find, for me, it makes such a difference. Just being a little bit warmer at home, I feel a bit more productive, or I feel more inclined to be productive with my time. So for example, I'm up and doing stuff rather than wanting to be on the sofa under a quilt with a book. Yeah, so that's good. And, you know, daylight hours are getting longer. I can definitely feel my sap rising, as it were. I hope you're all getting a bit of that too. Although I know actually that there will be loads of you who say, no, I'm going to be snowed in till May. I hope you've got some knitting, crochet, quilting, whatever on the go. Anyway, yes, so just another little random chat today, all sorts of stuff, including do you remember how long ago is it now? Since it'll be about a couple of weeks now, when I was doing my clutter busting, I was looking for those awards and stuff up in that top cupboard where it's stuffed away. Whilst I was there, my lovely, can you hear it rattling? There's a present in there to be pulled at Christmas. Yeah, this is my gorgeous reusable Christmas cracker from Geraldine. It's so clever. So it's fabric, as you can see, and when you want to pull it, it's all beautifully lined, beautifully made. When you pull it, there's actually, can you see on the end here, there's Velcro, corresponding Velcro in there, and then inside, look, there's a fabric hat too, so you get your hat. So you have to provide your own joke and your own present trinket to pull out, and you have to say bang. I mean, I guess you could use a bang in there, couldn't you? But I wouldn't want it to go on. I was thinking it would go on fire, but then normal crackers are paper, aren't they? So yeah, I'm not going crackers showing you a Christmassy thing in February. Just that I knew it was there. It's not the sort of thing I'm never getting rid of my lovely cracker. It was just that leading up to Christmas, I was so busy and I haven't got time to go. Anyway, it's found, it's safe, I'm chuffed. Yeah, lovely stuff. Right, where should we start? I know, we will start on the Nile. No, we're not going to start in denial. On the Nile, as in the big old river in Africa. So I did a bit of binge watching the other night. It was one of my stupid sleepless nights, so I think I was up till 4 o'clock in the morning binge watching 3 parts, 1 hour each. Now I'm telling you about it today, A, because it's brilliant, and B, because I wrote the available. Now this is something, it's only available until the 12th of February, so only a few more days now. So if what I tell you now interests you, get on over to My5, that's one of the main hubs I use. My5 until the 12th of February. I watched 3 parts back to back, and when you're doing your search, the programme is called The Nile with Ranul Fines. Oh, what a joy. Little bit of a difference though, because this is Saran, who I'm sure all of you will have heard of, most of you will have heard of. He's in the Guinness World Book of Records as the greatest living explorer. Now his cousin, well, he has 2 cousins that you may also know. The whole family, these are a ridiculous family of achievers. you know, a pretty privileged family, let's face it, so it's easier to achieve when you start with that good start, isn't it? But anyway, Rafe Fiennes and Joseph Fiennes, the two actors whom I'm sure you will have seen in films. Rafe Fiennes as the English patient. Oh, be still my beating heart, my God. Oh, yummy. And Joseph Fiennes. So for the Nile programme, it was made... Oh, did I write that detail down? I've got so many scraps of paper. I'm not sure when it was made, in the last couple of years or so. So it was Saran and his cousin, Joseph, Joe. So we're going to call them Ran and Joe, it's easier. There's quite an age difference between them because Saran, his father, and Joe's, is it his father? They were, you know, in terms of where they came within the family, like sort of eldest son, youngest son or whatever. So there's quite an age difference when they undertake this expedition. Saran is 74, oh my God, and he's had 2 heart surgeries, you'd never know. And Joe is 49. The premise behind this this new expedition is that it was one of the first expeditions Saran did in, did I write it down? The early 60s. He was doing his national service at the time, had a week's annual leave from national service and decided he wanted to travel the length of the Nile. Not always easy because of, you know, politics. But essentially this new one that I was watching is sort of recreating that expedition but with his younger cousin Joe. And at times one might almost forget that they're cousins. It's almost like a sort of father-son relationship, partly because of the age difference, but partly because of the sort of life experience difference. I mean, it's a wonderful programme that covers, obviously it covers history, Egyptology, geology, geography, all sorts of scrapes, and you know what? When you watch Saran in action with a programme like this, you kind of think Indiana Jones looks like he's a little toddler in nappies. He ain't got a clue. Saran is Indiana Jones. There are moments of, there are a couple of moments I could barely watch because they're squeezing themselves through tiny tunnels deep underground in newly discovered burial chambers. This is Egypt, obviously, after all. I can barely watch that because my claustrophobia kicks in. But yeah, all sorts going on. So if you like history, if you like Egyptology, if you like adventure stories, if you like travel, brilliant. But for me, what made it was the chance to see a different side to Saran, the chance to get to know him a bit better, as much as one can do in a TV show. I was mentioning this when I was reviewing that book, Beyond the Trees, about that young guy in Canada who kayaked across northern Canada up above the Arctic Circle, mad as a bag of ears. And I was saying these explorers, especially when they do something crazy solo, I think there's something mad about them. But also what I've always felt about Saran is, let me just put me bits of paper. I think, yeah, there is some kind of madness going on. But there's also, you know, undoubtedly he is utterly pragmatic. Utterly pragmatic. And I love that. I love that because I'm a pragmatic person. Yeah, let's be practical about things. The difference is, I think I'm pragmatic, but I've retained my warmth and humanity. Whereas Saran, to me, has always come across as it's pragmatism at the cost of everything else. So there's a sort of almost a sort of a coldness, a hardness, a dispassion. He's almost inhuman. You know, that focus, that drive to get to that goal. When he did the unaided he and Mike Stroud did the unaided expedition to the South Pole. When we say unaided, there's no relief. There are no airplanes with relief drops of food or anything. My God, I mean, they nearly killed themselves. That's what I mean. They're mad. All these people are mad. But fascinating when you read the book afterwards. So for us armchair explorers, they make really fascinating reading. Although I always massively admired and respected him for what he achieves, I've always kind of sort of stayed one step away from being totally in love with the man, as in, I don't mean like literally in love, you know what I mean, but being in love with this character. I always felt, no, there's a coldness there, there's a hardness there that I just don't connect with and I don't like. But that changed watching The Nile with Ranul Fines, which should be like Ranul and Joe. Because what came over was, like I was saying, that it was almost fatherly with watching him sort of teaching Joe how to be an explorer. But likewise, Joe was teaching Saran some things. Like, Joe kept doing all these really corny jokes, rubbish. Saran was like, Oh, yes, I see. I think I'm beginning to understand your humour. Because they'd never met when Joseph Fines was a kid. They never met because Saranov was always off doing his adventures and exploring. So they only met for the first time as, I think Joseph Fines was 30. So they're getting to know each other. And the process, it's a lovely process where I certainly felt that Joseph is teaching Saranov as much as Saranov is teaching Joseph. He's teaching him how to be human, how to laugh, how to have some warmth. But also there were moments where he showed that he had that anyway. And I suppose we haven't really seen it before, because on these really dangerous expeditions where, you know, if you don't concentrate, you could die, for example. He has to stay focused, especially if he's leading an expedition. He's got other lives. You know, he's holding other lives in his hands. He's got to be focused. He's got to be cold. He's got to be... So, yeah, I highly recommend the programme from all sorts of, you know, in all sorts of ways. Fascinating. It's a travel show, great. But if you're a fan of Ranul Fines, but like me, in the past you've always thought, who is the man? Who is the man behind this mythical explorer? Then yeah, I highly recommend it. But get a wriggle on, because what did I say the dates were? 12th. Yes, the 12th of February. It's only a few days away, isn't it? Yeah, wonderful. And it got me thinking, another little bit of paper here. Obviously, whilst I was watching, there were ad breaks, and you can't skip the ad breaks because, you know, that's how we get it for free. It's through the computer. I've started pulling books off my shelf. I've got my Ranul Fines, Mind Over Matter. And the reason I pulled this one off is because this is a signed copy. What a treasure. I pulled this one off because this Mind Over Matter, it's sort of it's a mantra, isn't it? And I've sort of talked about this a little bit in the past in other respects of how I've always really enjoyed reading these incredible mountaineering expeditions in cold places books. And so much of it is about the life lessons I draw from the books and the inspiration I get for my own life. And no, I'm not living on a mountain. I live right near shops. I'm not going to starve, etc., etc. But it's more about those life lessons for, it's not about, how to survive. It's not life lessons in learning about a new kind of snake. I'm talking about the kind of life lessons where we learn a bit more about ourselves and a bit more about how to be ourselves, for example. So I jotted some of them down briefly, and I thought, this is the kind of stuff I've learned from people like Saran over the years. Slow and steady wins the race. That's definitely true when you're when you are, what's this one, the epic, so that's what I was mentioning a second ago, him and Mike Stroud. This is the crossing I was talking about. This is the unaided crossing of the Antarctic continent. They went right across the Antarctic continent. There's some pictures, I'm not going to show you the pictures, they're graphic, of them at the end of, my God, they'd lost so much weight. Even though I think they were trying to consume 4,000 calories a day, but even so, yeah, mad. They're all mad. But yeah, slow and steady wins the race. It's not about achieving quickly. It's not about getting loads of glory. It's about just quietly and gently getting on and doing and getting to your own goal, the goal you've set yourself. It's not about what other people are doing. If someone's achieving, whoa, brilliant stuff right now, doesn't matter. You just set your pace and keep going at your pace. Slow and steady wins the race. Keep your eyes on the prize. Stay focused. Keep going forward. And that's definitely what so many of these men, and I recently read that one with the women, they've got a very specific goal, haven't they? Either reaching the South Pole, reaching the summit of Everest, but you also need to learn when to say, no, it's too dangerous. Don't go all out at the cost of your own life. But yeah, for me, that life lesson of having the goal, staying focused, you keep moving towards it, It's not a race, slow and steady wins. But yeah, like when I've been talking about being, so ridiculously frugal, giving myself the tiniest budget to live on each week is fine because I know what my goal is. I've got my eyes on the prize. It's all about the house move. So yeah, what's your prize that you're striving to get to in life? Keep your eyes on it. Keep progressing towards it, slow and steady. What else? Challenge yourself. All of these people regularly challenge themselves to do something mad. I'm not saying we should all do something mad, but challenging ourselves. Firstly, I think it keeps our brains youthful. Even if it's something like, I'm going to learn a new language, I'm going to learn how to crochet. It doesn't have to even be anything as grand as that, but I'm going to read a book that I wouldn't normally read. I'm going to read a book about women crossing the Antarctica. Challenge yourself because, if you stay within your comfort zone, you don't know how big your comfort zone might actually be. If you're sitting in a comfort zone this big, if you challenge yourself to do something outside of that, you might find, actually I really like that. Look, you can expand your comfort zone. Expand it. And when you challenge yourself to do something and then you achieve it, boy, oh boy, does that give you energy and confidence and strength. And when you've achieved that challenge, suddenly other challenges don't seem maybe quite so daunting. So yeah, even if it's a small challenge, even if it's something like, when people do their couch to 5K, even if it's something like in your park, the path around the edge of the park is 400 meters in length. Even if the challenge is, by the end of the month, I'm going to jog around that path without stopping and walking. Challenge yourself, and then when you achieve it, boy oh boy, use that injection of confidence and energy to carry you on into the next bit of your life. Challenge yourself, yeah. Face your fears and conquer them. Yeah, I'm scared of trying that. Well, you know what? If you try it, it might be too scary and you might say, no, it's too much. Like that crawling through the space, it might actually be just too much for you, a step too far. That's okay. We're allowed to have things that we say no. Bungee jumping. No way on God's good earth are you ever going to get me to do a bungee jump. Just not going to do it. No, never. Even for £1 million, I wouldn't do it because I know that that's too terrifying for me. But on a smaller scale, I was scared of starting a YouTube channel, did it and, really enjoy it now. So yeah, what are the things you're scared of, but that actually maybe you could have a little go at? Back to that reference of, you know, keeping your eyes on the prize, but like if your prize was the summit of Everest, if weather conditions change, it might be that you have to come down off the hill because carrying on is going to kill you. So in life, the metaphor, the life lesson I get from that is be prepared to change. To change your mind, to change your goal, to change your tactic, your strategy, your plans, whatever it is. None of us know what the future holds for us. None of us know what's coming. And it's great to have that goal, that focus. Yeah, I'm working towards this. But if conditions along the way change, obviously for Everest it would be weather conditions, but if conditions in life change that mean just carrying on mindlessly trying to get to that goal would be, you know, financial suicide, for example, then yeah, don't be prepared, be flexible, have your goals, have your dreams, etc., but, you know, change your mind. And also, I think being prepared to change our plans and therefore change our mind a bit, that's got to be a good thing because, you know, you might hold something in your mind, you might hold a prejudice even, or you're really entrenched in an idea that but being prepared to change our mind on something, listen to other people and think, you know what, maybe they're right, maybe I can chill out on this thing a bit, maybe I was wrong. It's okay to change your plans, change your mind. Oh, and as for age, I've written at the bottom, as for age, that's no excuse. So Saran was, when they made that Nile revisit, was 74. Like I said, he's had 2 heart surgeries. I don't know if it was like bypass, 2 heart bypass, I'm not sure. But by golly, it's just cracking on with it. I think because in his mind, he's still so strong and youthful. And that's what I think about, you know, challenging yourself and all of those things that he does keeps this, you know, strong and youthful. So yeah, I loved that programme. I hope that little list I've just given you of my life lessons that I've gleaned from these crazy, frankly, they're mad as a bag of ears, all these people, aren't they? But that some of that will apply to you and you think to yourself, actually, I can use that myself. That's a really nice little mantra or, thing to hold in my mind. The marvellous Saran. So yeah, the Nile with Ranul Fines, available until 12th of February on the hub called My 5, which is written as capital M, small y, the number 5, no gaps. Give it a look. I need to have a quick swig. Now, on to something completely different. I'm just finding me bits of paper in my basket of random chat. I've got a piece of paper here. It has one word on it. Can you see? Caramac. Caramac! I don't know what made me think of this the other day, but think of it, I did, and now I can't stop thinking about it. So Caramac was a bar of chocolate in Britain. It's one of those, you know, it was quite thin, not a big knobbly chunky one. So it was about yay big, like half of a 30 centimetre ruler. I don't know, that would be 15 centimetres. You know what I mean? Anyway, bar of chocolate, orange wrapper, I think, with yellow writing. And it was, so it's called Caramac, so it's caramel flavoured. So it was almost like eating a Milky Bar. I loved Milky Bar. I love those really sugary sweet chocolates. I'm not a fan of dark chocolate. I really don't like dark chocolate, but milk chocolate, white chocolate, it's getting more and more sweet and childish. Anyway, so Caramac was almost like a Milky Bar, but it was a funny yellowy brown colour. And it tasted of caramel. Oh, it was gorgeous. I loved it. Now, as I say, I don't know what prompted me that thought the other day. I suddenly thought, I haven't seen Caramac for years. Is it still made? Because when I've been out and about in the last few weeks, either to do bits of shopping or to do bits of research for shopping for, you know, I've been doing these homemade versus shop bought videos. Actually, I don't know, you won't have seen the next one yet. There's another one coming, another recipe coming that I'm comparing with shop bought. Anyway, when I'm out and about, I've been keeping an eye out for Caramac because it's a very distinct packet. But I have looked, I've looked in case the packet has changed. I've scoured. And do you remember in my, as part of my treats for a tenner, I bought myself a packet of Rolos. Oh, they were so good. I mean, all of this stuff is sickly sweet, isn't it? And it's certainly not something you want to eat every week or even every month, but every now and again. Anyway, that shop where I found the Rolo, I suddenly thought, oh, I bet they'll do, if anyone's going to do Caramac, it'll be them. I went and had a look. No, they don't sell it. So I don't even know if it's still made. Is it still made? I don't know. If it is, I'm going to blimmin' find some. And just, if I do, I'll have it with you here. It may not be as I remember. It's one of those things, isn't it, that maybe if I eat it as an adult, I'm going to really think, oh, God, it is too sickly sweet. That's definitely something that a kid would like, but not a grown-up. But honestly, I think my palate is that of a kid. And also talking about food, this came up, I was watching something, don't know, it was a drama. Was it drama? What? I can't remember, it doesn't matter. But this is one of my little bugbears. Are you ready for one of my little rants? It really annoys me when... Hang on. I can just hear a load of people going, it really annoys me when Vivi stops for a swig of water. It really annoys me when I'm watching a drama, so it's either a TV drama or it's in a film, but it's a drama setting. I'm not watching a documentary, I'm watching a drama. And the scene is one that is set around food in some way or other. They're either in a restaurant or they're at the dining table at home, or, and I know some of you are fans too, I used to be a huge fan of The Big Bang Theory. And you know what it's like when they're all at Sheldon and Leonard's flat. They're all on the sofa, the chair, on the floor. They're all sitting around. So it doesn't even have to be at a table. I'm just talking about when there's food in the scene. Like in the cop shows. There's always food on the cop shows, isn't there? You know, they're working late to crack the case. So they've got takeaway food. I'm not quite sure what it is, but it's in a box. And they've got chopsticks. The thing that bugs me with all of these scenes is when they don't eat the blooming food. And The Big Bang Theory are the worst for it. They are the absolute worst. And the problem with it, with Big Bang in particular, is they do the scenes at the flat when they're all sitting on the floor, all the friends together with takeaway. They do the scenes at the cafeteria at the university where all four of the lads work. So they're sitting in the canteen at work. There'll be the ones where, you know, Penny tries to cook for Leonard, so they're having an intimate dinner for two. There's tons of food scenes, and they never eat the food. They do this stabbing. They stab. I can't remember the actor's name, but he's the one. I haven't watched it for ages, actually. What's the one who... I've forgotten his name. Not Sheldon, not Leonard. He's the one that marries Bernadette in the end. You know, the turtlenecks. I can't remember his name. Isn't that crazy? But he's the worst for it. Stabs, just stabs. They're all talking. They're all stabbing. This is in the canteen. Stabbing. And no one ever brings it up to their mouth. Now, listen, I get it. There are two issues with food on a film set or a TV set. One is the food goes cold and is going to become really hideous and unappetizing to eat. I get it. Two, continuity. It's a special continuity with wine glasses. Have a little look next time you're watching a scene where there's wine glass and you'll see the wine in the glass going up and down. Honestly, programs like that, they should have two people on continuity just for the food scenes to make them work. But anyway, so I get that it's problematic. If it's problematic, don't do a scene around food because, I don't know, Is it just me that thinks that? Is it just me that gets bugged by it? What was I watching the other day? What was I watching? There was, oh yeah. Anyway, I was watching something and it was just really I can picture it in my head. It was a scene in a restaurant and it's two female characters. They were talking, and one of them, basically they were having, like a salady thing. And salad is great for if you're doing filming, because it's not going to go cold. Anyway, she'd stabbed a bit of tomato and cucumber, I think, on her fork and held it up. And this scene lasted about 10 minutes. And there was all this talk and she kept going, and it was going almost to her mouth and talking, so she just held it there for 10 minutes. It's like, no one does that. No one does that. Put it in your mouth. And they're taking it in turns to speak. And of course it's a bit tricky, when you're speaking and eating to coordinate it. But look at your script. Work out, when am I going to eat, whatever. But you can pop it in your mouth and then if your line comes up, you can sort of say it, cover, or just don't have food. But don't have a fork held by your mouth for 10 minutes. There you go. That's just a little rant. I don't know. I told you it was a basket of random chat. It came up the other day and I saw it and I just thought, yeah, why you just don't have food in the scene, or especially say with the Big Bang Theory. There are so many of them in a scene. Surely one of them could have taken a mouthful whilst 2 or 3 of the others are chatting and speaking and doing stuff. I don't know. Right. Have we got time for any more? Just a little teeny tiny moment of chilliness. So on with my gorgeous Chris shawl. It's just enough. It's just enough to take that little edge off when that edge is just around my shoulders. No, I think we'll round up pretty soon, because the other bit of paper in my basket of random chat is it's kind of thought-provoking, lots of thoughts, so I think it'll go on too long. But where are we? So we're right at the beginning of February. What have you seen? Oh yes, you saw my busy day the other day. That's continuing. So all that stuff. I'm about to head off in a second and make some more phone calls. I'm doing a lot of juggling of, trying to get people in. Then I got my first quotes through from, the one decorator was brilliant. Straight away gave me a quote that afternoon. But he's been messaging me almost every day saying, have you decided? And, he's really nice, but I've now politely said, look, I don't think I'm going to be able to tell you anything until, in a week's time. I really appreciate you coming out, appreciate your quote, but please don't message me. When I've made the decision, I will tell you either way. Anyway, so that's getting a bit like, stop nagging me. But that's ongoing. In the next couple of days, I'm going to go back to my DIY store to pick up some of the offcuts so I can get busy making that box for the haul. There are other little bits and bobs going that I can do in the haul in the meantime. It's warming up. I need to go and attend to the garden, and there's lots to do in the garden. I've only been backwards and forwards harvesting. I haven't really done any work. I haven't felt like it. It's been too cold. I'm not enjoying. I found as the years, do you know what it is? I think it's just the joint issue. As the years have gone on and the joints have got a bit worse, the cold I'm less tolerant of, just because it makes everything a bit more sore. That's okay. Sun's coming out again, we'll catch up. So that's happening. As I just said a second ago, there's another shop versus homemade recipe coming up. And I'm going to see, I'm not ever going to be, I'm not going to be so prescriptive to say that's going to be one a month. But I'm aiming to keep going with those. And it might be one a month, and I might just do it for 6 months. It might go on all year, but we'll see how we go. So that's coming up. What else is coming up? Oh yeah, I think apart from anything else, yeah, let's get down to the garden together. I'll give you a tour of the plot for February and all the jobs that we can be getting on with before the season really kicks off. So catch you up on things down there. What else have I got lined up for you? I thought I had more. Yeah, I think the next few weeks it's going to be more. There's going to be hopefully a lot more of just getting the flat sorted, getting this flat sorted, keeping those wheels turning. All right, lovelies, look, I'm starting to waffle and I don't know, I suddenly got really chilly. This is lovely though, isn't it gorgeous? I love these colours, blues, purples. It's my proper mermaid on the rocks colours. It's gorgeous, isn't it? Goes with my crochet blanket on the sofa that my cousin crocheted me for my 50th birthday. Seems a million years ago already. All right, lovelies, I think it's time for me to go and get on with other things. So I'm going to love you and leave you. Please let me know if Caramac is still made and where I can buy it. You know, it might be, I've got a really, really massive Sainsbury's. I was going to say it's near me. It's not near enough to walk to. I have to get a bus there. And I'm not doing £3.30 on the bus there and back just for a bar of chocolate. But it might be that really, really big branch does it. We'll have a look. And if you fancy some life lessons from the world's greatest living explorer, pop over to My 5 to look at Saran and his little cousin Joe recreating his Nile Expedition of the 1960s, whenever it was. Absolutely wonderful stuff. I find him utterly, utterly inspiring. He's my go-to for inspiration on my daily living. I feel all chipper and you know what, the sun's coming out and spring is on its way. We're all getting our bouncy bits back, aren't we? Not bouncy bits, that sounds wrong. We're all getting our bounce back, aren't we? I hope so. I do hope so for all of you too. But for now, from me, that's it. Lots and lots of love to you all. Until the next one, cheerio.